Hi, I'm Janet Glynn. Welcome to Close to Home, Southington's Block of the Month for June 2021. This month, we're going to be working on the Celtic twist. It looks difficult, but honestly, it's very, very simple. It's a 9-patch made up of these 4 squares in the corners, and if you don't quite get your fabrics correct, you're definitely going to have an issue. So pay close attention on how you position your fabrics. Also, these rectangles, north, south, east, and west, are also very particular about where you do lay your corner pieces. And the last step is the center, which is called a partial seam block. So I will show you how to sew a partial seam around this square. Okay, so real quick, we're making 4 corners. All in the fabrics here, and I'll go over the fabrics in a minute. We're making our sides and our top pieces and our center. For the cutting instructions, make sure you do use Mary Ellen's Best Press to starch your kit before you cut your pieces, okay? You're going to get a very large piece of what's called Northcott's Vapor color. It's a Toscana. We've used it before. You're going to cut 4 3.5-inch strips, and you're going to subcut those 6.5 inches wide. The very last chunk of fabric in your kit on this piece, you're going to cut a 3.5-inch square, and from the remainder, just 4 2-inch squares. And then I'm going to name these the Black X, Medium Mottled Gray, Medium Circle Gray, and Light Brush Strokes. And you're going to get a strip, and you're going to cut that whole strip from each of these to a 2-inch strip. I will give you the subcutting directions. They are on your instructions on the handout, so make sure you follow that very closely, okay? So the first thing I want to go over is the corner pieces. We're going to lay our 2-inch white, so this is in my direction, so we're going to put these up in the top left corners. And what we're going to do is take 1 each of our colors. So Heidi, if you could zoom in on the fabrics real quick. This one is the lightest, which I call, the light brush stroke. It has some linear markings through it. It is the lightest of the 4. So that's called light brush stroke. The next one we're going to look at is our medium circle gray, obviously with the circles going through it. The next one is a medium mottled gray. Mottled just means variations of the same color throughout, no real pattern, no real print, just an all-over color. And then the last one I'm calling my Black X, and that has actual little diamond, little X marks in it. Okay, so with that in mind, we're going to keep this straight, and we're going to try to get a Celtic twist and not a Celtic knot. Okay, not a mess. So first things corner, we're going to take our lightest gray, our vapor one, our background colors, and we're going to add a 2-inch square to the right side of each of these squares. Okay, go ahead and sew these at 1/4 inch, and we're going to press these toward the colored squares. The next part's pretty important, and in the instructions it tells you which of these, where to place our little 2-inch by 3.5-inch pieces. So the medium circle gray gets the Black X, so that one goes there. The mottled gray gets the medium circle gray, that one goes there. We have the Black X gets the brush stroke, that one would be here. And then the last one is the light brush stroke gets the mottled gray. So here's my brush stroke, whoops, and here's my mottled gray. So once we get these sewn, this one first, and then we're going to add the particular 3.5-inch piece, and again, these get pressed toward the rectangles. That's it on the corners. So as you can see, I have 1 each of the corners, just as I explained. So get your corners finished, and we're going to move on to the sides and top pieces. So for those, we're going to use our Creative Grid folded corner clipper. We've used it in the past, and when we use this ruler, we're going to use the blunt edge at the top and the 2-inch marking in right here. So let me get it set up, and I'll show you where to put those. So all my light grays, my vapor ones, my background pieces are all right side up. It's very hard to tell once you get this upside down, but this back is much lighter than the right side of the fabric. So this would be the wrong side, and that would be the light. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Okay, so what we're going to do is put our 2-inch pieces in each of the corners according, again, to the instructions, paying very, very close attention to which corners that they go in. So I have a black X and a mottled gray, so my black X is going to go here, and my mottled is going to go there. And then I have a light brush stroke, which is this one, and a medium circle. I have a medium circle on that side and a light brush stroke, and these are all spelled out for you very nicely in the instructions. And my mottled with my black. Okay, so we're going to use our Creative Grid folded corner clipper, and we want to replace this corner with this folded corner right here. So we're going to place our squares right into the corners. We're going to use our folded corner clipper, and we're going to place it so the blunt side is along the right hand side of my rectangle. The top of my square goes along the edge of my ruler. The 2-inch marking goes along the bottom of my square. And of course, you see this little line right here. That's going to hug the corner. So we're going to cut this, but we are sewing literally from corner to corner, right where this black line is. So we don't have to mark it. All we need to do is cut it and sew very accurately at 1/4 of an inch. So we can do this, remove that, and we're going to take that over to our sewing machine. And go ahead and cut all those, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But before we go sew them, I find it's it's a lot easier because I've already placed these, just to hold these in place with a pin until we can come back and cut this side. So what we're going to do is cut these, pin these, sew these. And then we're going to come back and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to cut off this corner. So we're going to remove our pins, and we're going to place our corner clipper with the blunt side, because we want to remove this corner. The blunt side goes now at the bottom of my rectangle. This side goes along the square, and the 2-inch marking goes right along my 2-inch square, my colored square. And of course, don't forget that little hug in the corner right here, very important. So we can trim this. And now take each of these, we're going to trim each of these the exact same way, and we're going to take these over to the sewing machine and sew our 1/4 of an inch. So what we get is when we trim these and press these out to the corner, we get a medium circle with a brush stroke, and then the opposite, a brush stroke with a medium circle. And here we get the black with the mottled gray, and the reverse, the mottled gray with the black. So they should look like this with our squares down at the bottoms. Okay, so we have our north, south, east, west. The last thing I want to sew for you today is the partial seam. So we're going to start with a 3.5 inch. Move these. We're going to start with a 3.5 inch square. We're going to place our fabrics in the order in which we need them. So the medium dark circle is going to go here, and at the top is the mottled gray. So this one's going to go here. The light brush stroke is next. If you miss these or mix these up, your Celtic twist is not going to come out correct. So keep an eye on the instructions very carefully. And of course on the bottom is the black X. So to start, we're going to sew our medium circle to our background piece, but we're going to start halfway down the square. And we're going to sew all the way down to our pin. So let's line this up at the top. Take about halfway down. Whoops, hold on a sec. Take about halfway down, and I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew and stop at the pin. You ready? Let's go. Please work. All right. There we go. So I see I'm approaching the pin. I can stop just before the pin. It's not mandatory, you know, one stitch before or after. It's just an average. Couple stitches back, maybe one forward, just enough to lock our seam. So it's really important that we lock our stitch right here, because it's not like another piece is going to go right on top. So what I've done is I've only sewed halfway down. Okay, so let's go over to our ironing board, and we're going to take the side that we sewed, which is this one here, and we're going to press it always toward the colored pieces. So let me just press that real quick. I'm not worried, oops, sorry Heidi, I'm not too worried about this side at this time. Just the area that I sewed. All right, we're going to bring it back. Oops. And we're going to keep going clockwise. So the next one was my mottled gray. Put that right on top. And we're going to do the entire edge. That was the only one where we went halfway for now. Okay. So now I have the entire edge. And I'll just go ahead and sew my 1/4 inch seam. And we're going to press toward the mottled gray. Okay. I'm going to put it right back where it belongs. And we're going to use the brush stroke is next. So the brush stroke goes on, fits very nicely around my square, and we're going to sew this at 1/4 inch. On top of each other, the ends should meet very nicely. And once again, press toward the brush stroke. Just a little bit of heat, just to hold our seam. Replace our piece. And the last one, let's lift this up because it's not attached right here. We're going to lift that up, and we're going to put our black X on here and sew this. Keep this out of the way. You want to pin that out of the way, that's fine. Just to hold it, and we're just going to sew this last side. Not quite our last side. Last full side. And we'll sew this. So let's get these on top of each other. Get your edges together right on top. Don't let them slip on you. All right, almost there. A little bit of heat on him. Okay, we're down to the very last one. Go ahead and remove your pin, and then we're going to fold this back, and this is where we started. We're going to sew from here down, and then we're going to tack or go a little bit forward and back right here, only to secure our seam. So we're going to start up here and finish our square. Okay, I see I'm approaching. And as soon as I hit that area where I back stitched before, I'll take a couple stitches back, couple forward, and pull that out. And I've completed that partial seam that we started with. One more press. Now we can press that whole medium circle right where it goes. Yay! Okay. So, construction-wise, real quick, the picture is on the back of your instructions, but we're just going to put these right in their positions. So the black X goes here. I'm going to get these out of the way real quick. The medium circle goes here. Sorry. Way, and the brush stroke goes here, and the last one is our mottled gray, goes here, and then we can fill in our north, south, east, wests. I have this one. So when we're sewing these pieces together, we're sewing these three across, these three and these three. Typically I would press the top and bottom out and the inside middle strip in, but we want to make sure that when we're sewing this to this row to this row, we get a really nice edge. Let me see if I can pull this forward a little. We want to try to meet in that corner right here. That's a little tricky, so take your time and make sure that you meet your half square triangles right there on the seams, okay? The next thing you want to do is finish this up. And we got the idea. So here's that one where that meets, and that creates a twist. We did this block back in 2015. I'm not sure if you remember. I think we did a little bit differently as far as cutting and not using the folded corner clipper, but it was when we did the salmon, the green, the polka dot, the black. So hopefully you'll remember and get the block done. So this month, folded corner clipper and the partial seams. You can pick up your kit starting tomorrow, Friday, June 11th. Bring your completed May block in to receive your free June kit. Check out our website for classes. We're still limited to how many students we can have, so sign up early. No mastery classes yet. The website will be updated for these as soon as we are able to schedule them. They are classes of 20 people, so we're still waiting to schedule that. Don't miss our floor model sale. The sale ends this Saturday, June 12th. Up to 40% off machines, cabinets. So come in if that's something that you're looking for. And of course, we're running some classes right now, small classes. Again, Mexican Star, the Newport Sales, Mondo Bag, and Winner's Bouquet. A lot of nice curved quilts that we're working on, and we hope you join us. So as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.